Y que porque eso le hace sentirse un poco no cómoda, porque si se tiene que encontrar esa persona después en algún lugar, eso la va a tener como un poco irritada, o sea, no le gusta tener que volver a ver a alguien con quien se está peleando.
Yeah, we're working on that today. Even if that's something I struggle with, even if it's for me sticking up.
Dice, eso es algo en lo que yo realmente la paso mal.
I think there's a way to stick up for yourself and still be cordial. I've had situations or a situation where I feel like there was like a lot of stuff I found out about the situation, and then I knew if I confronted the person, they were just not going to own up to any of it. So it's like, what's the point? Right. If I'm going to go to you and be like, here's what I found out, I know that it's true, I've seen the proof, too many people have said something to me about it, and they're just going to be like, I can't believe you would believe that about me. Like, that's just not
Ella
true.
Dice que pues prácticamente es una mujer de paz, que no le gusta mucho el drama. Y que ella pues prefiere mejor hacerse la loca, en pocas palabras, evitar la confrontación, porque no le parece como apropiado, ¿no? Dice, realmente sí me pongo muy de mal humor. Dice, pero siempre me gusta tomar como la ventaja de tener soluciones, de saber qué es lo que, de saber en las soluciones, o sea, cómo le podemos hacer. Y muchas veces pues tienes que saber cómo ser amigo de esa persona, y a veces pues así pasa. Dice, no te gusta la confrontación, hay drama. Dice, ¿cuándo va a ser un momento bien para Hailey?
Oh, fuck yes, like Hailey, let's go, which we're gonna get into.
Well, I think based on what you're saying, like,
dice, bueno, basado en lo que tú estás diciendo, cuando te tienes que quedar como para explicarte, para justificarte a ti misma. Yo estaba en un lugar donde yo no quería, donde tenía que explicarme todo el tiempo a mí misma. Y la gente todo el tiempo se va a estar cuestionando, ¿no? De por qué dice eso ella, por qué hace eso ella. Eso no es una buena señal. Dice, no importa lo que tú digas, siempre te tendrás que estar explicando a ti misma. Son cosas que la gente también saca de contexto y no te puedes estar como que preocupando por estar explicando todo el tiempo. Son compromisos también. Dice, las relaciones de amistad, de pareja, de trabajo.
It's hard and it sucks. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's literally the best thing ever. The whole sentence of what I said was
dice,
like,
todas las
he's my best friend. I love coming home to him. But like, yeah, it takes work because I'm 25 years old and I have a life and I have a career and I have my own friends. So trying to balance making my wants and needs and hopes and dreams work while meshing my life with another.
Y bueno, pues ella dice que tiene también
like, we're busy people,
ella tiene una carrera, ella tiene trabajo, ella es como cualquiera de todos.
And sometimes it's hard. How does that not make sense?
People don't want it. Like, the marriage is ending. Like,
como todo el tiempo la gente está hablando de que si su matrimonio va a terminar, de que si es como que la gente la quiere ver así como que mal todo el tiempo.
Totally. No matter what I say, it's like the marriage is ending.
Dice, no importa lo que yo diga, todo el mundo siempre va a decir que mi matrimonio se está terminando.
My own relationship, it's like there's something wrong with it. So it's like I just don't care. People have been saying this now for 4 years.
So
dice, la gente nos conoce ahora por los próximos 4 años.
You're like, oh fuck, here we go, Alex, just go. She's literally burrowing in.
Look at my hands.
Oh my god, Haley. Okay, you married one of the most famous.
Dice, tú estás casada con uno de los hombres más famosos del mundo.
What are the best parts?
¿Cuál es la mejor parte de eso?
Well, I think the best parts are that
Dice, creo que la mejor
he's my
parte
best friend,
es que
and
somos
there's nothing
amigos
better than being with
y
the
nadie me
person
conoce
that
mejor que él.
makes you smile the most, makes you laugh the most.
Me
Like,
hace
he's just literally the
reír, me hace
best
sonreír.
human to me ever. And I think that he's a person who has been through a lot.
Y él es una
and
persona que ha
shouldn't
estado ha
have
tenido muchas
gotten to the
cosas,
other
ha pasado
side of a
muchas
lot
cosas
of what he's been
difíciles.
through, and he's overcome so many different things in his life for being famous
Y
so
ha
young,
pasado
and
por
the fact
muchas
that
cosas
he's
en su
as
vida por ser
normal as he
famoso.
is, he's literally just, to me, I feel like he's a very like normal, regular guy.
Y para
I
mí
think
es un
usually
chico
somebody takes
normal
this and
como
they, like,
todos.
fucking chop it up and make it sound like I said something different. But I've known him for a very long time. We were
Dice,
friends
pero
for a
bueno,
long
lo
time
conozco
before
por
anything
mucho
else, and,
tiempo
like, I just love him.
y lo
You can
amo.
see it with the two of you, even though we only see stuff. I mean, I remember when I saw you guys on the beach in Santa Barbara.
Dice, yo recuerdo cuando
and
los conocí
I
una
grew up-
vez en
I
la playa
watched
de
Justin
Santa
Bieber. I
Bárbara.
was like, oh, like I didn't know what to expect.
Yo no
Like, I was
sabía qué
definitely
esperar de
intimidated by you
ustedes
guys because we'd only met once.
porque
I
solamente
was
nos
like,
conocimos
wait,
una
why
sola
are they so
vez.
normal? Justin's like, hey,
Y
what's
ustedes
up?
eran
Good to
tan
see you.
normales.
What are you guys doing on your trip? I'm like,
Hey, ¿qué
you
están
guys are
haciendo en su
so
viaje? Y así.
so normal for how
Yeah.
crazy your life is, and it's unfortunate that people don't get to see that side of you guys.
Yeah, he's also like, he just has the kindest,
Él solamente,
sweetest, most like gentle
él es
heart
súper
and
súper
soul to me.
tierno,
I've always
súper
thought that about
generoso.
him. Obviously, he's gone through phases in his
Dice,
life where
obviamente, él ha ido a través
was
de muchas
being,
cosas.
you know, a little out there. I didn't want to say like fuck boy because it's like not, yeah, but like yes and no. I don't know how to describe it, but like he was
Dice, no
just
sé cómo
in a different
describirlo,
space in
pero
his life, and was like, I think ultimately when people are like acting out, it's just because they're hurting.
dice, muchas veces cuando las personas actúan así es porque han sido lastimados.
But I think sometimes we go through a season where it's like we're hurting a lot.
Pero
more, we're
en
going
muchas
through a
veces
lot
vamos
more,
a
so we're
través de
just
las
a
etapas
different version
de la
of
vida
ourself that's
con
not really
diferentes
who we
versiones de
are.
ti mismo.
But like to me, he's just the best. The most
Pero para
fun,
mí es el
like,
mejor.
I have the most fun with him. He
Tengo la mejor
understands me
diversión con él,
more than anybody ever
más
has
que
in my whole
ninguno.
life, and I think that goes both ways.
Creo
and
que eso va en
he's
las
just
dos
my guy.
direcciones.
How has being married to someone with that level of fame impacted your identity?
¿Cómo ha sido para ti el estar casada con una persona tan
Where do I
famosa? ¿Ha
start?
impactado tu identidad?
Well, I think even for starters,
Dice, bueno, yo creo que al principio cuando
even me
empezamos,
talking about him or talking about our relationship,
cuando hablábamos acerca de
people
él
will
o
say
de
that I'm
nuestra
like, all she
relación,
ever talks about is her relationship with him. And even something like that, I'm just like, well, we are married.
dice, bueno, al principio también era difícil.
A huge part of my life.
Y ahora
And
vemos pues
obviously
que
people
estamos
are very
casados. Él es una gran
interested
parte
in,
de mi
like,
vida
our life together, and
y tenemos una
he's
vida
a
juntos.
humongous public figure, so it's
Él
like,
es
it's
una
a little
figura
bit unavoidable
inmensamente
at times, and
pública,
I do
famosa.
try to, you know, have my own thing, but it's
Ay,
like our
yo
lives
trato
are
de tener
completely
mis
meshed
propias
together, so
cosas.
I don't know. I'm like, what do you want from
Pero
me?
es así
Like,
como que, ¿qué quieren
of
de
course
mí? ¿Qué
people are
esperan
gonna
de
ask me
mí?
about it. They're gonna ask him about it. Like, I just don't see how that's like avoidable. And sometimes it is because it's just not necessary to talk about. But
Dice
like,
que a veces tratan de
even in a
evitarlo, pero que a
situation like
veces pues
this,
es necesario
yeah,
hablar de ello.
we're married. I have his
Están
last name.
casados. Dice,
Like,
yo
I
estoy
don't know how
casada,
I'm
tengo
supposed to
su
avoid like
apellido.
talking about my life.
Es
Like,
parte
that's
de
my
mi
life.
vida. O sea,
This person that you happen to be married to
es una persona
happens
con la que me
to
terminé
also be
casando.
one of the most famous people
Una de
in the
las
world.
personas más
Asking me about
famosas.
him if he was someone who had a different type of job. Or
Es
like,
solamente
you know,
alguien que tiene un
a
trabajo
9 to 5.
diferente.
Like, I just, the reality is that it is what it is.
From your point of view, can
Dice,
you explain why the internet was so angry over
dice,
your
¿puedes
engagement?
decirme desde tu punto de vista por qué el internet ha estado siempre tan
First of
enojado
all, I think
contigo?
one thing is that we're both really young. I think honestly that's for starters, which I totally understand. When we got engaged, I was 21.
Dice, yo totalmente lo entiendo. Cuando nos comprometimos, yo tenía 21 y él 24.
Yeah, 24 and 21.
Yo 21.
I personally never thought I was going to get married
Yo
that
personalmente
young.
nunca
Like,
me
I always
imaginé que iba a estar casada tan
I would be
joven.
maybe getting married now, and I'm 25 now,
Dice,
and I
yo
still
pensé que
think
tal
I'm
vez
really
en esta
young.
edad me iba
I
a poner
think
ya me iba a casar ahorita que
timing
tengo
was
24.
obviously very rapid and
Pero
very
fue muy
fast,
rápido.
which now being 4 years past that, looking back on it, I totally get it. I'm like, yeah.
Dice, totalmente yo lo entiendo, sí, entiendo.
Really drastic and really crazy because, but that was what we felt.
Pero eso fue
decision between the two of us,
una decisión de los dos.
It felt correct for the two of us at the time.
Que se veía correcto en el momento.
Right, because here we are 4 years later.
Y aquí estamos 4 años después.
The timeline of like where he was at before we got back together and what was going on, and there was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I will say too, like,
dice, pero bueno, yo lo voy a decir así.
Really know the truth of the situation,
yo realmente no conozco la verdad de la relación.
How it happened and how it went down, or like me and him. Perception is a really tricky thing.
La percepción es algo muy
you can see it one way.
Es como muy, es muy especial. Tú lo puedes ver de una forma, yo lo puedo ver de otra.
I think of being somebody who is in the spotlight or being famous.
Aquí el challenge, o sea, el reto es estar con alguien que tiene el spotlight todo el tiempo.
I was there, and I was living it every day. So there's just there's a lot that I can understand.
Es demasiado que yo pueda entender.
Like, this seems crazy.
Your husband was in a very public relationship. They were kids. People were obsessed with the idea of them.
Dice, mucha gente estaba enojada con la idea de que ustedes.
Talking about of like, is she a homewrecker?
Ella rompió una pareja aquí. Ella rompió una relación.
Were you ever with
¿Alguna
Justin
vez tú estuviste románticamente con Justin cuando él estaba con Selena? Dice que no. Dice, yo cuando empecé a estar con él, a estar así como ya, como tipo novios, así como hooking up, como ya algo más serio, él nunca estuvo con ella. En ningún momento. Dice, no es algo de mi educación, de mi crianza. Dice, nunca lo haría. Yo nunca lo estuve y nunca lo estaré. Nunca lo estuve. Dice, yo creo que hay situaciones donde a lo mejor si vas y vienes con alguien. Dice, yo sé que en momentos de su vida donde estaban así todos, no, nunca estuve. Nunca he estado envuelta con él cuando él ha estado con alguien. Dice que muchas de las cosas que la gente se ha cuestionado es que si en el tiempo, cuando él pasaba tiempo conmigo, dice, esto es muy loco. Dice, yo entiendo que cómo se ve de afuera. Pero esa era la situación. Yo sé por factores que era las cuestiones eran, así era la cosa correcta para ellos dos. En ese momento, la relación tenía que terminar. No es mi relación, yo no tengo nada que ver con eso. Se cerró un capítulo. Y fue la mejor cosa que le pudo pasar a él. Y después moverse y comprometerse. Porque yo no quiero hablar por medio de ninguno de los dos. Porque realmente yo respeto esa relación. Yo solamente sé lo que pasó cuando nosotros íbamos. Y creo que fue la decisión más madura que él hizo. Yo nunca me metería con alguien. En pocas palabras, ella dice que nunca se metió y que nada que ver. Y que ahí, como quien dice, la acusaron.
So, let's talk about your experience with there's been a lot of hate.
Dice, vamos a hablar de tu experiencia con tanto hate.
Like to talk about this stuff, but you've never.
It literally makes me so uncomfortable.
Dice, realmente me hizo sentir muy incómoda.
I'm like crawling because I just feel like there's like a little bit of that like anxiety of
Porque
like,
había como partes,
people will probably take it the wrong way, or like I just don't want to say something that is like being
porque yo muchas veces
disrespectful, or
sentía
like
que la gente tomaba
bringing
las
up
cosas de
something that
diferente
can like
manera.
stir up feelings for someone that like, I know that we're just all so far moved on from like any type of drama, and I'm so happy.
Dice,
for
yo sé
that,
que
so,
nos
like,
movimos
I get nervous
del
about
drama
talking about it because I'm like, I don't want to like stir anything up or like
y yo
bring
no quería
anything up that
empezar
is
nada,
going
pero
to be like a thing, or
And I get that. And I think the reason, unfortunately, is you guys aren't completely normal human beings.
dice,
There
yo
is
creo
a
que esa es la
complete
parte más
world
difícil, que
out
ustedes
there
los dos
that
son
is
unas personas muy
obsessed
normales.
with all of you
Mhm.
in different ways. And then there are people that
Y hay
hate
gente
you for who
que los
your
odian por
husband
ser quienes
dated
ustedes
back in
son.
his past.
Mhm.
Take me through how your husband's past relationship
Dice,
still to
llévame
this
a
day
donde
affects what
tú,
people are saying about you and to you on the internet.
Well, I think like one of the things that we already just covered is that like the timeline of things, and like a lot of the hate and the perpetuation
mucho del
like,
hate y de
you
las
stole
cosas.
him. And I guess maybe that just comes from like the fact that they wished that like he had ended up with someone else.
Dice,
and
mucho
that's
del
fine.
hate
Like, you can
creo
wish
que
that all you
tenía
want,
que
but
ver
that's just
porque
not
la
the
gente
case.
tenía mucho
In
coraje que él
December
estuviera
of
conmigo. A él lo
2020,
hubieran preferido
a
con cualquier
person
otra
posted
persona,
a
no
video
conmigo.
encouraging haters to comment on your Instagram
Dice, ¿y qué
live
pasa
with
cuando hay personas
nasty
que hacen como
messages
que motivan a los
announcing their
haters para que
allegiance
te
for
vengan a
Justin's
tirar hate
ex
a tus
and just like fully
redes,
harassing you on
que
your
te están
live?
acosando
remember
y
feeling
amenazando?
On
¿Cómo
that
haces con
Instagram
eso?
live when you saw
Cuando
those
tú ves
comments
eso
start popping up?
y que empieza como alguien
don't-
mueve los
well,
hilos
I
para que
think
sí
there's
pase.
like a certain like, almost like numbness that you get where you're just like,
Dice, en un momento llegas a
you
sentir
just know
como que
it's gonna
estás
happen. It still
anestesiada.
happens to this day.
No lo
This
sientes.
is, you're talking about something that was 2 years ago now, almost 3.
Dice, tú estás
and it's
hablando de
something
que
that's,
esto fue
if
hace
I was
2
to go
años,
live
o
on
sea,
Instagram right now,
es
it would
increíble
still
cómo
be
el tiempo
happening.
pasa.
Probably less, which is nice.
Dice, sí, pero
But
ha bajado
you just reach a
mucho.
point where you're just like, you have to just like ignore it and be like,
Solamente tienes que
okay.
ignorarlos.
And didn't Justin came publicly to your defense and like
Mhm.
said
Y
something?
también
Well,
Justin
because
vino en tu
I know
defensa
that for him
pública y él
that's
también
hurtful.
habló.
Because if we have moved on, why can't you? Like,
Dice, porque
that's
si
kind of just
nosotros
the
nos
whole thought
movimos y
process of,
nosotros
like,
ya pasamos la
it's just
página, ¿tú por qué no
hurtful.
lo has
It's
hecho?
hurtful, it's bullying.
Porque
It brings
todo
me
lo que
back
hacen es
to
bully.
The Rob Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, the Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. Their
Dice, bueno,
first
es como la
love,
relación que
right? And
tenía
people are obsessed,
Miley
I feel like, with
Cyrus
this
y su
concept of, like, your
novio. O
first
sea, la gente
relationship. Somehow it's being pushed onto you as like, get the fuck out of the way. Like,
es como
let
que
them
la
get
gente
back.
te
And, like,
dice,
if
¿sabes
I
qué?
wasn't even
Vete, salte de
here,
aquí, tú no
then
perteneces
that's not
aquí,
gonna
vete de
happen. So, like, let us
este
just live our
espacio.
lives. And now you go find your partner and you be happy. But it's hard.
I have had this conversation with a psychiatrist.
Dice, yo he tenido estas conversaciones con los psiquiatras.
The whole point of this conversation is
Y todo
that
el punto
we're
de
talking
estas
about how my
conversaciones
relationship is being compared to something else, or
es que
I'm
siempre
being compared to
te
another
están
woman,
comparando
and,
con alguien más.
you know, get the fuck out of the way
Dice,
type
por
of a
favor,
thing. So
salte
where
del
I'm
mentado
at, and
camino,
the
o sea,
position
quítate
I'm
de en
in,
medio.
it's not for everybody, but everybody has a purpose.
Dice, no
That
es
doesn't
para todo el mundo,
necessarily
pero
mean
la
that
gente
you're
tiene un
supposed to also
propósito.
be 25 and married and doing this, or I could have nothing figured out right now.
Dice, yo pude haber hecho, no pude haber
in an alternate situation, in an alternate life.
And I think Hailey, he was America's bad boy sweetheart.
Dice, a ver, y
so
yo
I
creo,
think
Hailey, que
there's
él era
ownership
el niño de
feel and
América, o sea,
fans
el
feel
preferido, el
towards
There totally is,
consentido.
and there's also this like, why is it you? There's so much of
Y
that
muchas
that I feel like,
preguntas eran por
why-
eso, de
why
que ¿por
you?
qué yo? ¿Por qué era
So,
yo?
Like, and I'm like, I don't know.
Y yo,
Right?
pues,
Like, I
yo no
just
sé, yo
fell
no
in love, he
sé.
fell in
We
love,
fell in
we're-
love, and
Dice,
like,
no
it-
sé,
it-
nos
I
quedamos
think there was times where, like,
enamorados.
I can confidently say I don't think we knew it was going to be each other.
Realmente no
several times.
sabíamos que
So,
íbamos
like,
a
I
ser
can't say
así,
that,
que
yes,
nosotros
at
íbamos a
18
estar
years old,
juntos.
I knew 100% that was my husband. I don't fucking. I
Dice,
didn't
yo ni
fucking
siquiera
know.
sabía
People
que él se iba a
can't live
convertir
up
en
to
mi
the
esposo.
idea of who they think belongs with him.
It would have. Nobody would have. This is the thing. If it was another person,
Dice,
it's like,
si hubiera sido
because
otra
so many people
persona,
have adored him for so long, nobody in their mind would have ever been like the person. And here's the thing too, is like we're talking about a lot of like the negative side.
dice, hemos hablado mucho de las
There's
cosas
also
negativas.
so many people who have made me feel so embraced and so
Y-
encouraged and so loved.
Y que
and
mucha gente también ha tenido la
obviously it
osadía de
has
hacerla
brought me
sentir a ella bien, de hacerla
newfound
sentir
audience and a newfound
pues mejor,
you know,
cómoda.
there it just there. I want to like give credit also to
Y
the
también
people
quiero
who have,
darle
like,
crédito a esas
supported
personas.
and been so kind and like so amazing and so great.
I think everyone in the world almost knows that
Dice,
you
mucha
have
gente en el
been
mundo
bullied
conoce
and harassed on the internet for almost 4 years now. Like, that's a fact.
que por
And
casi
it's-
But I do
4
believe
años
it
tú
has
has sido,
changed.
pues,
I
obviamente
will give credit to say that
atacada.
I do think that 4 years ago,
Dice que tú podrías
3
creer que
years
hace
ago,
4
2.5
años,
years ago, because of how intense it was, it made me just very like closed off and like not want to share any.
dice, solamente porque yo soy muy callada, no quiere decir que yo no tenga la necesidad de, como, de
I would get a pit
expresarlo,
in my
de
stomach doing
compartir.
interviews because I'm just like, I can't like, it's like being like traumatized kind of.
Es que
like,
dice, es como
you're
ser
too
como, es
scared
como
to,
estar
like,
traumatizada.
speak or open yourself up or say
Porque
the wrong
te
thing, and then
abres
you
y
start to
hablas.
become. I had moments where I felt like I was becoming very like, not like a robot, but like I
Y hay
had to be
momentos en los
very
que casi
meticulous
no
about what
como
I was
robot, pero
saying,
sí,
very agreeable and can't say the wrong thing,
y que no
and,
puedes
like,
decir
and it
nada,
just
o sea, tienes
starts
que
to
estar
become
como
this
todo el
very, like,
tiempo,
weird way of feeling, where you feel like you
escondiendo
just
tus
can't be
sentimientos,
expressive and you can't be yourself.
porque
And
no
then
puedes ser
that
tú
was where
misma.
it came in with like wanting to do YouTube and trying to have a space
Tener
within
como un
this age of the
espacio
internet and this age of social media where I
en
can
esta
say,
época de
"This is
de
who
los
I
medios
actually am.
sociales.
Take it or leave it, like me or not.
Dice, tómalo
This
o
is who
déjalo,
I am." And I felt like
te guste
actually
yo o
taking
no.
the step to, even though at times it was really uncomfortable for me, taking the step of being like, I'm proud of who I am, and this is my
Pero me
personality. And,
tomó
like,
tiempo
this is
llegar
gonna
a un
sound
punto de mi
probably
vida
so
donde yo
corny,
decía
but,
que
like,
yo estoy
to me,
orgullosa de
I've
mí
always felt
misma.
like I was just like a girl from fucking New York.
Dice, soy una
Oh my
chica
God,
de
this
Nueva
might sound
York.
so cringe. I grew up, to me, I felt like very normal.
Dice,
And, like,
para
I
mí
came
es
from
algo
a
muy
small town
normal.
called Nyack, that is like a suburb of New York City.
O sea,
And I
yo
woke
crecí
up
en
every
Nueva
day
York.
and, like, I was homeschooled and like did ballet, and like to me I feel
Estaba
like
yo tomando las
I
clases en
remained
mi
that same
casa,
person.
fui,
Of
estudié
course, life has
ballet.
changed drastically, but like at the core, I feel like I am proud of who I am at the
Pero al
core. Like,
final,
I know
creo que
I've always
estoy
been
orgullosa de
that
quién
same
soy.
person, and I feel very rooted and grounded, and I grew up very grounded and rooted, and of course I came from a famous family. Everybody,
Dice, claro,
you
que
know,
vengo de una
that's the
familia famosa
reality of my
también.
life. Can't change that either.
Y que tampoco puedo cambiar eso.
And I just feel like, again, people didn't really like know me.
Y
and know my
realmente la
story
gente
and
no
know
me
what kind of
conoce.
person I was. Like, people don't know what kind of friend I am. They
No
don't know what
sabe
kind
la
of
clase de
daughter
amiga
I
que
am.
yo
They don't know
soy.
what kind of sister I
No
am.
sabe qué
Like,
tipo de hermana
but I
soy.
know.
You are starting to share more.
Dice, ahora estás
And
empezando a
even in
compartir
the
más.
video that you made, where you basically asked people to stop harassing you, and you're like,
Cuando ya le estás
"Leave
diciendo a la gente
me
que paren de
alone.
estarte
Just leave me
molestando,
I was
de
like
alone."
estarte
half joking,
acosando.
but I was being half serious. Like, it was supposed to be something that was like light and funny. But I
Dice,
was
se
also
supone
being
que
serious
al
because
principio el bullying iba a
I,
ser
like, woke
algo
up one day and I
divertido
was like,
y corto, pero no,
can't believe we're still doing this.
se ha vuelto
you,
muy,
like, read a
muy fuerte.
comment?
Dice, todavía
Yeah, like,
después
I
de
was,
los años seguimos
which,
haciendo
again, like, I
esto.
have to stop myself from doing all the time because we know that the internet is a
Dice,
toxic
yo también
hole,
me tuve
and
que
like
parar a mí
comments are
misma
a
porque no
toxic
sabemos cómo
hole.
es el
But I
internet.
was just like curious about something, and then I'm like reading. I'm like, are we still talking about this? Like,
Dice,
we're
¿realmente
getting
todavía
to-
seguimos hablando de esto?
This has been it's been
Dice,
years
han
now.
pasado
like 4
años.
years we've been together. Like,
Ya
come
estamos
on,
juntos.
let's all evolve together.
Dice,
Let's
ahora
hold
todos.
hands and really like.
O sea, ha pasado
Okay,
mucho tiempo y
we're
la
done.
gente no la
Like,
deja
that's how I
todavía.
wanted to. That's how I felt in that moment. I was like,
Dice, es
are
como se siente en el
we
momento.
serious that this is what we're still doing? Like,
¿Esto es lo que todavía estamos haciendo?
we're
¿Es
still
en
gonna
serio?
harass me about this shit. There is so much that I could have said.
Dice, hay
There was
demasiadas
so
cosas que yo
much
pude haber
that
dicho.
I at times was like this close to saying, and I just felt like there's so many things that were happening where it's also like there's a time and a place.
Hay un lugar
and
y
there's
un
also a time and a
momento
place to let other people express what they need to express. and,
donde
like,
le
go
permites
through
a la gente
their
expresarse como tengan que
feelings
expresarse.
and emotions, and like I
Y
just
esto
felt
te lleva a
like
las
there were
emociones.
certain times if I was going to say something, it was going to make things way worse and not be beneficial. Again, it was going to be my word against someone else's.
Y dice, bueno, de todas maneras son cosas que no te van a beneficiar porque es tu palabra contra la de otras personas.
And I've struggled with that for,
Y yo
for a long time. Like,
tengo problemas con eso.
But it's not fair that people think that this is what happened when
Pero
this
no
is
es
really
correcto que la gente
you
piense
get
que
into a cycle of, like, again, feeling the need to explain yourself.
es como que
And for
tener la
me, it's
necesidad de
not even
explicarte a
about
ti
explaining
misma.
myself, it's about people knowing the truth. Because there's a truth.
Dice, la
There
gente
is
no sabe
actually
la
the
verdad
truth of
porque hay una
something that
verdad.
happened, and there's the truth of what didn't happen.
De las
So I
verdades
think for
que no se
me,
han dicho que
when
pasaron.
people, you know, make up stories about me
Hay
online, I'm just
historias
like,
que
but
se han
that's not
fabricado
what
acerca de
happened.
mí
That's not the truth.
y eso no es
the
cierto.
crux of it the homewrecker thing? Like, is that what really bothers you?
Y
I
es
think
lo
there's
que
a lot of
realmente te
timing and
molesta
timeline
tanto.
stuff that, like, just wasn't true, and that's also just the internet making up their stories and, like, taking little bits and pieces
Porque
of it,
cuando
they're looking
hacen
at from the
historias en
outside, and
internet y toman
and by the way, it's
historias
not
de aquí,
even,
historias de
it's so
allá,
many different things.
So,
The
hay
internet can
muchísimas
make
cosas
up,
tan
they can literally
diferentes.
sit here and say that I threw up on you.
Dice, porque la gente va a decir, ay, yo le aventé algo a ella, y
and
no es
say,
cierto.
Hailey threw up on me, it was really crazy, and then I would read that on TMZ,
Porque
and I'd be
dice que
like,
ella
that
también
did not
leyó
happen.
en una
You know what I'm saying?
en
There's just stuff
TMZ
that happens all the time
que
that I'm like,
él le
hello?
aventó algo a ella. Dice,
Can
y
you
eso no es cierto.
explain what happened when you were taking photos?
Dice, cuéntanos qué
on the
pasó
red
cuando se
carpet with
estaban
your
tomando
husband at the
fotos
Met Gala in
afuera
2021?
En el 2021,
Oh, and
afuera de
people
un
were
evento.
screaming? So, yes, I could hear everyone screaming.
Dice, sí, podía yo
And
escuchar a las personas gritando.
Again, I think there's a certain part of you that has a numbness of just,
Dice, creo
like,
que hay algo en ti
I
que se
was,
queda como
like,
numb,
really
como
surprised.
anestesiado.
I could kind of hear it, but I didn't know if that's what was really going on until I saw the video after. The whole thing of everybody being like,
Dice,
oh,
yo
he's
no
trying to
me
tell her
di
not
cuenta
to
de lo que pasó hasta que vi el video
cry, that was
exactamente
not true.
después.
It wasn't making me cry. Although it's a very disrespectful thing to do.
Es una manera muy
towards anybody,
muy
I
irrespetuosa.
felt like I had something in my eye.
Yo sentí que tenía algo en mi
That's
ojo.
just what goes to show you how out of context things can be seen.
Y fíjate cómo las
When
cosas
he's,
se pueden
like,
salir de
trying to help
contexto
her, I'm like,
tan
I feel like
fácil.
there's something in my eye. Do you
Yo
see
tenía algo en
something
mi
in my eye?
ojo
I'm going like this, and he's like, no, you're good.
y yo le estaba preguntando
And
a
as
él,
this is
oye, hay
happening,
algo que...
everyone's chanting. I don't even know if it was their relationship name or just her name. They were chanting at you. So then you take the sunglasses.
Dice, hay algo que
And
tú te
everyone
quitaste
else
tú te quitaste los...
They were just part of my look. I knew I was going to wear the sunglasses.
Dice, yo sabía que me iba a poner los lentes.
But yeah, I did hear people yelling.
Dice, sí, escuché gente gritar.
Almost cry. I think seeing the video back after made me like, damn, like that sucks. That's the energy people are like putting out into, like, that.
Dice, y después que vi eso me di cuenta toda la energía que la gente pone. La gente que ponía, pues, es irrespetuoso.
It just was, period, the end. But I think I've endured so much disrespect, and I still do to this day, that there was like a part of me that was just like, another day, another negative slay.
Y bueno, pues ahí se dio cuenta que había otra cosa negativa, ¿no? ¿Qué pasó?
I know.
See, that's like a very public example.
Ese es un ejemplo muy claro de algo público que pasó.
That was supposed to be a happy moment for you and Justin, whatever, and it was ruined by harassment or bullying or this concept of his past.
They've never ruined anything for me.
Ellos nunca han arruinado nada de mí.
Ruining my happiness, and that, I think, is really the win of the whole thing. You're actually not taking anything away from me. So that's
y ellos nunca me van a quitar nada que me pertenezca a mí.
You can't take this away from me. You cannot take away my happiness, my relationship.
Dice, mi relación, mi felicidad,
my business,
mi
my
negocio.
Career, like, you can't. You can try and you can be mad about it, but
y puedes estar enojado acerca de eso, pero no hay nada que yo pueda hacer.
Hailey, what do you think the internet wants you to do?
I don't know. I legit don't know.
Like, if you were trying to get under it, like,
I'm like, sometimes I joke around, I'm like, would they be happy if I, like, just moved away?
Algunas veces yo bromeo y le digo, oye, ellos estarán felices si yo me muevo lejos y me voy a encerrar en un lugar donde nadie me vea, donde nadie me conozca.
What is the goal?
I think I would say it's
a lot of the time I think it's attention.
Dice, muchas veces yo creo que es atención, buscan atención.
in hopes to get a response out of you, and to get a rise. And I've seen it
con la
happen with a lot
esperanza
of
de
other
tener
people
una
too, like,
respuesta
"You're
de
ugly,"
alguien.
and then like you respond and you're like,
Y si tú les
"I wish you
respondes,
the
se quedan
best,
así de
like,
que,
I'm sorry you
wow.
feel that way," and they're like, "Oh my God, Queen, I'm sorry, I actually
Y
love you,
se
I was just
ponen
being
así como
silly."
que, ay, discúlpame, reina, no pensé que
That
me fueras a
That
contestar.
wasn't funny.
That wasn't funny at all.
Dice, y eso no
Calling
fue
me ugly, like,
divertido. O sea, cuando le escriben cosas
I guess it
como
is
de
kind
los
of funny,
haters
'cause
y
look at
eso.
you, so fuck off.
No, it's just
No,
like,
but I get
what
it.
was your point? So then the point is like,
Dice,
they
entonces,
get
¿cuál
the
era tu
attention that
punto
they
de
thought.
escribir
I think
eso?
a lot of people think you'll not respond.
Dice, porque
And I've
mucha
had
gente
that happen
piensa
before
que
too,
no
like,
les vas
"I
a
didn't think you
responder.
would see it, I'm sorry." And I'm
Y
like,
cuando lo
"So
ven
why
y
are
te
you
dicen,
saying that?
ay,
Are you
I'm
just bored?"
sorry.
Like, I don't know.
Can you try to explain what does it feel like to have millions of people against
¿Me puedes
your
explicar qué
relationship?
se
Like, what does
siente
that
tener a
feel
millones de
like on a
personas en
day-to-day
contra de tu
basis?
relación?
I guess the biggest thing is like, I think it's sad.
Dice, la
I think it's
mayoría de
sad
las,
to
co-
be
la mayoría de las
against
veces te
someone's
podría decir que es
happiness. I
triste.
think it's sad to not wish
Es
somebody
triste
well.
saber que
Who am I supposed to be that would be
quién se
acceptable?
supone
And
que
then
yo
that
debería de
means that
ser
I'm living for other people.
para
And that
decir
means that I'm
que
being a people pleaser, which I struggle with a
yo
lot.
tendría que
I
estar
do
como
want people to
complaciendo a
like
todas
me.
las
It does
personas.
bother me
Eso
when
me
people
molesta.
just don't like me
Eso,
simply
que no
because
que
of
porque yo no
the
les
rumors they've
guste,
heard or the ideas they've come up with
que
or
porque ellos
things
vienen
that
con
they've
unas
seen.
ideas,
Like, it makes me sad.
me pone
But I
triste.
think I've had to come to the point
Creo que
and the
tengo que venir a
realization
un
of like,
punto
there is no way that you
donde
exist as a person, especially not as a person with a platform or in the public eye, where everybody loves you.
donde hay una
And that's
plataforma
even in
donde
life
toda la
in
gente te
general.
ama, o sea,
Even
no
if I
existe.
was just in a normal
En
situation,
una situación
not
normal,
everybody's gonna like you.
no toda la
I'm
gente
just existing
no
in
toda
front
la
of a
gente
lot
le
of
vas a
people,
gustar.
so it's very easy to make up your make decisions about how you feel about someone.
Yeah.
Es fácil hacer
Especially
una
when there's so much
decisión
access to
acerca
look at
de
them and
las
see what they're doing, and
personas.
there's social media and there's photos and there's just like life. So I don't know. I think that sometimes it feels really heavy.
No sé, se siente pesado, se
What has
siente
been
difícil.
your lowest moment since all of this began?
When things can get really dark. and
Cuando
you
las
start
cosas se
having
ponen así
thoughts
muy
of
oscuras.
it not being worth it anymore or not wanting to be here anymore, which I have had before in the past. And coming out of that, I think it's really important. A support system is like the most important thing, for sure.
Maybe if you could talk about like the shame of having those feelings.
Dice,
Because I bet a lot of
me
people
puedes
listening
platicar
have
acerca
had
de, pues,
those
no sé,
thoughts, and
de cómo,
you're really alone
de cómo
with
te
them,
sientes,
and
como
how to
avergonzada de
even, like,
tener esos
comprehend them
pensamientos.
is a process in itself.
Sometimes I don't think we can comprehend them on our own, because then you just throw yourself back into like a vicious cycle. I do think sometimes you need to express it, and you need to go to someone who is going to feel safe for you and support you in those thoughts.
Dice, tienes que ir
Not make
a
you
hablar
feel
con
like
personas que
you're
te hagan sentir
crazy or that you're
segura,
wrong
que
for
te den
feeling
confianza, que te puedan entender, que no
dark
te
and deep
juzguen.
and heavy. There's also this like kind of weird twisted thing where I'm like, I don't get to feel that way.
Dice,
I'm
no
living
siento que
amazing
pueda yo
life,
tener,
and I'm
no me
so
siento
blessed,
así.
and I'm so fortunate. So like, it's almost like my dialogue in my head feels like, get the fuck over it. Like, you don't get to feel that way, because there are people in this world that are really struggling, and you're not. Like, that's sometimes how I feel like I talk to myself, because I'm like, get over it, like, you're fine.
Y muchas veces yo también me digo a mí misma, ya, salte de ahí, ya se acabó, o sea, ya, mueve la página, o sea, no te claves.
And like, allow myself. I'm somebody who like, I hate crying in front of people. I don't.
Yo soy una persona a la que le
Like,
molesta, no me gusta llorar enfrente de la gente, no puedo.
And it's been since I was a little kid.
Esto siempre lo he hecho desde que soy una
I mean,
niña.
I've started to a little bit
No
more
me
in
gusta.
therapy and stuff, but I'm like, why do I find it so embarrassing to cry in front of
A veces
people?
digo, ¿por qué siento tanta vergüenza de llorar
enfrente
enfrente de la gente? No puedo.
So awkward and
se me figura así como que algo raro.
In front of people, and it's always been such an uncomfortable thing for me. So,
y siempre ha sido algo muy que no es cómodo para mí.
Like I have been guarded emotionally in ways since I was like a little girl. So I think going through the process of also trying to understand why we have some of the tendencies we have since childhood, like what are the things that have happened to me when I was a little kid that have like
¿Y qué pasó en mí cuando yo era una pequeña niña?
To have the self dialogue of like, you don't get to feel that way. Get the fuck over it. People are way worse off than you. Which is also like true. There are people who are going through a lot.
Y es cierto, hay mucha gente que pasa por muchas cosas.
Different things, but it's the sense of not invalidating the way that I feel, and I'm still working on that, and I'm 100% sure that.
Y bueno, sí, hay muchas cosas que pasan.
In December, going into the new year, I went to
en diciembre
that was a like therapy intensive. I was there for 7 days.
Estuvo 7 días en una como terapia intensa en diciembre, donde no tenía teléfono, estaba aislada.
We spoke about like tiptoeing around the way I feel, or like not sticking up for myself, because again, it kind of boils back to like I've never enjoyed confrontation.
Nunca he disfrutado la confrontación.
My mom is a very sweet woman who
Mi mamá es una señora muy dulce.
She, as far as I can remember, she never liked confrontation.
Que a ella, desde que yo recuerdo, nunca le ha gustado la confrontación.
And at times, still to this day, doesn't say what she wants and is like, I don't want to do this, I want to do that. Like,
y ella
is a very just gentle kind of.
Es una persona muy gentil.
Back woman. And there's so much about her that I like super respect.
Y hay cosas de ella que súper me encantan y respeto mucho.
She was just very,
ella era alguien así
non-confrontational,
que nunca ha confrontado a la gente.
We danced around, and as I've gotten older and
y como yo me fui haciendo mayor,
open
como fui creciendo, pues fui teniendo conversaciones más abiertas acerca de su vida y acerca de cosas por las que ella pasó, que cosas que yo no sabía. Pero es como un pattern
to move past and work past.
To close out kind of the chapter of what
Para cerrar este capítulo, le dice, ¿qué le dirías a los fans de ella? O sea, de Selena. ¿Qué le dirías a sus fans? Creo que les diría,
the first thing I would say is, you're not obligated to like me.
No tienes obligación de que yo te caiga bien, de que yo te guste. Yo creo que debe de existir el respeto entre las personas.
Just, you don't have to say anything.
Tú no tienes que decir nada.
You don't have to say anything either, because behind this person,
porque detrás de esta persona
is a person with a brain and a heart.
Es una persona con cerebro, con corazón.
Issues that I face, and so do you, and so does Alex, and so does every
y cualquier persona que estamos aquí somos así.
You just, yeah, I think just mutual like respect.
Un mutuo respeto.
Know that what you say can have impact.
Que lo que tú digas, pues,
know that,
que sepas que tiene un impacto.
Yeah, I guess that's what I would
Creo
say.
que eso les diría. Dice, creo que yo hubiera sido un poquito más ruda.
What I want to say would be, no, I'm just kidding. No, like that, I always made the joke of like, I think if I sat down with any of those people and they would walk away being like, you know what? I get it. Like, I respect her for that.
Dice, creo que si yo caminara, si yo platicara con ese tipo de personas, ellos entenderían y dirían, ok, ¿sabes qué? Lo entiendo, está bien. Cuando la gente trata de ser nasty y me quieren atacar.
One of my last questions on this topic, because I'm just trying to get all of it, just like, let's wrap it in a bow.
Yeah.
So you never have to talk about this again. You're like, yeah, I wish.
No, I literally never will.
No.
I'm like sweating.
At any point, did Justin or literally anyone.
Dice, en algún punto Justin,
his ex, to help.
¿Alguna vez él le ha preguntado a su ex que te ayude? O sea, que como quien dice que pare el hate. Dice, no, pero lo que yo voy a decir es, ella ha estado en la industria más años que yo. Ella conoce, ella sabe. Dice, creo que un corazoncito en tu TikTok, eso ayudaría bastante. Dice, yo creo que muchas personas tratan de crear separaciones. Ella no me debe nada. Y yo no le debo nada. Yo la respeto mucho. Pero no hay expectaciones.
I just, yeah, I respect her. There's
La
no
respeto,
drama
pero
personally.
Have you guys ever spoken?
¿alguna vez han hablado?
Like, recently.
Pero
I guess not recently, but,
recientemente,
like, after your marriage.
después de que te casaste.
Yes.
Sí.
So that's why I'm like, it's all respect, it's all love. That's also why I feel like, well, if everybody on our side knows what happened and we're good, and we could walk away from it.
Dice, por eso conocemos que cada quien lo que pasó.
Right.
That's fine.
As long as you know you're good.
Dice, tan pronto como tú sepas que lo que tú estás haciendo está bien.
Peace.
Ella quiere paz.
Like, hey, we know what happened. It is what it is.
Es lo que es lo que es.
Every narrative, and there's going to be new ones that come. It's never going to end, and that's
Dice,
why
nunca va a terminar.
That's why I didn't speak about a lot of this stuff.
Y por eso es que no hablo mucho acerca de esto.
Something new from this interview.
Oh, of course.
And I'm just like,
you don't want to know what's going to come from this interview?
Dice, ¿sabes qué va a venir acerca de esta entrevista?
Talking about sex.
De que Hailey está hablando de sexo. Porque vamos a hablar de la parte fan. Vamos a hablar de sexo con Hailey. Es lo que le está diciendo, que de eso es lo que la gente más va a hablar, como diciendo, el tema de Selena no es importante. Next.
Hailey Bieber.
Yes. Hailey Bieber.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy. You're like, we've been sitting here for an hour.
She's like,
dice, nos hemos sentado aquí por una hora.
No. I need to give the fans what they want.
Tengo que darles a los fans lo que piden. A little taste, right? Y tengo que dar aquí algunos tastes.
Walk me through step by step.
Llévame paso a paso con Justin Bieber.
Oh my God.
I was gonna try to do it so straight faced. You're like, this girl's a fucking psycho. No, I was wondering, did anyone ever ask you about your sex life?
¿Alguna vez alguien te ha preguntado acerca de tu vida sexual? De tu vida íntima.
Are you a morning sex or night sex?
¿Eres una persona de la mañana o de la noche?
Me too.
Yo soy de la noche.
But I do like morning too.
Dice, pero también a veces me gusta en la mañana. Lo que pasa es de que a veces me siento rara hablando de esto porque mis padres seguramente van a estar viendo esta entrevista.
Hopefully they don't make it this far.
Your parents are probably really progressive.
Dice, tal vez tus padres son más open que yo, pero bueno.
Okay. So my parents like really, Call Her Daddy really like, I went from 0 to like, oh my God, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But they get over it. This will be your introduction to like,
I also have this theory that people like don't care about married people's sex.
Dice, creo que a la gente no le importa la intimidad en un matrimonio.
Okay, so your night sex people, we love that. Okay, this is so graphic, but I'm saying the words. Okay. For the rest of your life, you have to pick one of the two.
Okay.
From Mr. Bieber, are you going to be fingered or eaten out for the rest of your life? You can only take one.
¿Le da a escoger una respuesta de la frase que le está diciendo?
Because I feel like it's always a combination.
Has anyone ever tried to have a threesome with you?
¿Alguna vez alguien ha tratado de hacer un threesome contigo?
Would you be down?
¿Estarías for it?
It's funny because I feel like those ideas can be really fun and like sound really exciting. I think at the point of inside of it doesn't work for the two of us. We personally like that wouldn't work for this because I think sometimes for some people it does. So I've heard.
Dice que para muchas personas eso funciona, pero pues ella no.
It works for a time, but I feel like
dice, creo que funcionaría por un tiempo, pero después creo que en el momento en el que tú haces la decisión de hacer eso, yo no sé si eso. Dice, hemos trabajado bastante para estar en el espacio que estamos ahorita, para confiar en uno a otro, que realmente no creo que eso sea bueno para él o para mí. Dice, ¿cómo es que ustedes crecen esa confianza? Dice, yo le puedo preguntar de cualquier persona, de cualquier cosa de su pasado. Y él no tiene problema de ser explícito. Porque no hay nada que yo no sepa. Si él tiene gente que le está mandando mensajes así privados, él me dice, oye, ¿no crees que esta persona está haciendo así asado? Creo que es raro.
do you think like this person is like genuine? Because it'll come across like super friendly, and I'm just
Porque
like,
hay
there's just no
personas que llegan aquí
reason.
así
There's no
súper
reason you need to
friendly.
have a relationship. There's
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
that's cute.
but I'm also someone where like I
Dice, pero
really
también hay
encourage
personas
female friendships because I think that you
que son
have to be able
amigos
to
y que
have,
es
like,
válido.
healthy opposite sex
Que son amigos del
relationships
sexo
that are
opuesto.
friendships, or else you're like closing yourself off all
Y
the
que bueno,
time,
eso
like,
también hace que tú
But you're not like
también...
having Instagram models like walk around your house.
No, of course. I'm just saying, like, of course, there's boundaries with everything.
Dice,
but
obviamente
I'm
no
just
tengo
saying,
modelos
like,
entrando a mi
don't be
casa todo el
afraid
tiempo, pero
to have
tengo barreras, o sea,
girlfriends.
tengo
Totally,
reglas.
right? Because it's like if you can't, it's like, oh my god, like
If I could, it'd be like if I couldn't have friends that were
Dice,
guys.
si yo pudiera
I think
tener
you
amigos,
control what the limitations are in any relationship.
que las
in any
limitaciones puedan
friendship,
estar
in
en
any
ese
work
momento.
relationship.
like you can have self-restraint and
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
Do you have people still in your DMs?
No.
Dice que si ella todavía tiene personas que le escriben así
I
como
don't
románticamente
have
en sus
people
mensajes
hitting me up,
privados.
like,
I'll slide
in my
I got
DMs.
you. Okay, do you and Justin have the same favorite positions?
¿Y tú y Justin
So,
tienen el mismo gusto de
It's not like
posiciones?
I strictly like this one thing and he strictly likes another thing.
Dice, no,
Like one,
estrictamente nos gustan cosas
two,
pues diferentes.
five?
It's always different.
Dice, siempre es
Okay, yeah.
It's
diferente.
always something different.
Siempre hay algo
You're moving
diferente.
around.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean like one day it might be one thing, one day it might be another.
Dice,
Oh,
a
I
lo mejor un
actually
día
think
nos
that
gusta
I
esta
was thinking
cosa,
you
otro día nos
transitioned
gusta
to one
esta.
night.
He's flipping you upside down one
No.
second.
So you
and-
guys have like you guys are not set on one position. Like,
O sea,
you guys
ustedes
have
no
a
están
couple
casados con
go-tos.
una posición.
But I
No.
think with my boyfriend, I have now like our go-to like 3. I feel like every couple has those.
Dice, creo que
like,
cada pareja tiene como sus
go-tos.
preferencias, ¿no? Sus
Do you
preferencias.
want to give us one? And it can't be missionary.
Y
It's definitely
dice,
not
podría ser el
missionary.
misionario.
I really like doggy style.
Dice, ahí realmente me gusta
Really cute.
el estilo
That was
de
beautiful,
perrito.
Hailey. What is the sexiest thing Justin does to turn you on?
¿Cuál es la cosa más sexy que Justin hace para aprenderte?
You know, it can be so many different things.
Dice,
It
sabes,
can
pueden ser
be,
diferentes
like, a
cosas.
connection thing, it can be a
Puede ser
physical
una
thing. For me,
conexión.
kissing is a big deal.
Pero el
Like,
beso
that's
para
a-
mí es
that's a
algo muy
big thing for
importante.
me. It always has been,
Siempre ha
just, like,
sido.
in my life before I was married, so I would say that
Y
is
yo podría
probably the
decir que
most.
eso es como,
What is the sexiest thing you do that turns him on?
¿cuál es
Or
la
what's
cosa
the
más
thing that
sexy
he
que tú
always
haces
says, like,
para
oh,
aprenderlo
God,
a
like,
él?
Hailey, like, he like gets him going.
The connection point is very important.
La
to
conexión
him.
es para mí
Like,
muy
we would
importante.
literally just be like laying down talking before and like just having like a really fun conversation, and like that is really
Y la conversación antes
important for
de...
him. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something that I think is super sexy. About
Dice, te voy a decir
you
algo que para mí es
that
súper
turns
sexy.
me on is voting.
Yes.
Woo!
Voting is hot.
Yes, voting is so sexy.
Yeah.
It's so sexy.
Justin can't vote here, but
Oh, well, he'll be supportive of us both
yeah,
voting. Okay,
he's very
and
loves it.
there are so many people that listen to this show. And
Y
this
bueno,
airs
están
in
hablando de un
September.
show.
We have a huge election in November, and I just think it would be great to use the end of this episode and use this platform and our platforms to just emphasize why it's important to vote and just how much everyone needs to get out there. So why is voting in this year's election important to you, Hailey?
It's important to me because I think, as everybody knows, we're in a very scary state in our country.
Están hablando del voto, de por qué para ella es tan importante el votar, y ella dice pues que es muy importante porque ahorita están pasando por un
And I
estado,
think
es su
what
país
we
muy
learned,
difícil.
what I took away in a big way from the overturn of Roe v. Wade was the people that we elect.
Y pues que las
our
personas que
states, in our
ellos
cities, in
tienen
our
la oportunidad
counties,
pues
they
de
are
seleccionar,
so important.
de votar.
And that was something that I was like, shit, like
We gotta
this
get on
is
it.
really the reality. We got to get on it.
Esta es la
I
realidad en
felt
la que
very
ellos tienen que
passionate
estar
the last
ahora.
election about just please get him out of there. Like that was like, it felt like legit, like life or death, and it was in so many ways. And I still feel that even more now, because you've seen there's still so many terrible, scary things happening within our country, but
Y hay muchas cosas que pasan en nuestro país.
And I always think there's an opportunity for change, and there's an
Y
opportunity
yo siento que siempre hay oportunidades de
come
cambiar.
together and stand up and make a difference.
Y hacer
You've
las
been
cosas
open about the fact that
diferentes.
people in your family have different political views
Pero
than
muchas
you.
personas en tu
And
familia tienen
I think
diferentes
that's
puntos de
probably the
vista en la
most relatable thing
política.
we'll talk about on the
Right.
podcast today. And I think so many people can relate to that.
Y creo
How
que
did you
muchas personas
navigate
lo
that? 'Cause it
pueden,
can
se pueden
get heated.
relacionar con eso.
Yeah, it was tricky. Especially very personally, like my dad.
Dice,
my
sí, hay cosas muy
parents,
personales,
It just got to a point where I found that we
como mi
discuss
papá.
it, which I think is okay. I believe what I believe.
Yo creo en lo que yo
I'm a
creo.
fully formed woman now, 25, turning 26. I know.
Ahora soy una
what I
mujer que
believe
está
and what I
cambiando del
stand
24 al 25
for.
años.
I know what I stand for.
Ya
and what I
sé por lo
don't,
que yo
and
quiero.
obviously it's disappointing that the people that raised you
Obviamente
think
estoy
so
decepcionada de
differently
las
than you
personas
and have such a different perception that sounds crazy, and you're just like, how did I come from you then? I just don't get this. But it just causes too much disturbance and
y causa
turmoil and
demasiada confusión, demasiada
argumentative back and forth that it's just like it just can't be talked about.
que no
They're
se
not
puede
gonna
hablar de
change.
ellos.
And it's funny
Son,
because me and my sister have the same exact point of view, which is like nice.
dice,
because
por
at
eso mi
least I'm
hermana y
like,
yo
at
que
least I
tenemos el
got
mismo
you.
punto de
Like,
vista.
Please, thank
and then
God.
my mom, like, I'll try to talk to her about something. She's like, I'm from Brazil. So I'm like, okay. My mom's from
Okay.
Brazil, by the way.
Dice, mi
Oh my
mamá es de
God.
Brasil.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's always good to just, one, normalize people are going to have different views, but I do think regardless, like, just get out and vote because
Y creo que es
it's
importante
so
que la gente
important
sepa
this year
que tenemos que salir y
specifically.
For
votar.
sure.
So,
And it's
guys,
not something
go
that
vote.
I even, the last election, I was super vocal about it. I
Dice,
posted
yo
about
la
that
última elección yo
every
estuve
single time.
súper activa promoviendo
It's
eso.
something that I'm passionate about.
Y
for
soy
sure.
muy
So,
apasionada en
I
eso
appreciate you
también.
bringing it up.
Hailey Bieber, thank you so much
Hailey
for coming on
Bieber,
RPO
gracias,
Davie.
muchas
I really
gracias
appreciate you opening up.
por haber
You don't do
estado
a lot of
aquí en este
long-form
espacio
interviews,
abriendo.
so I appreciate you trusting me.
Realmente
Of course, thank
reconozco tu
you. I think I
confianza.
had an expectation where I know coming
Dice,
on
yo
here
sabía
with
que
you,
tenía
you're gonna
expectaciones
go
en
there.
esto y
That's just the reality of the situation. I wouldn't have
es
agreed
la
to it if
realidad
I
de la
didn't know that was
situación.
the case here. I think
Obviamente,
there's a lot that I've avoided
son
speaking
muchas
on
cosas que
for
yo he
a long
tratado de
time,
evitar,
but it is my life, so I
pero
should
es mi
be able to
vida
like say what I want
y
about
tengo
it.
que decir
You
lo que yo
go
quiera
there in a
acerca de
certain
eso.
context where it's like I've not gone before, and I think that's like a personal challenge to myself.
Y
that I
este
wanted
es
to like
un
push myself
reto
to like,
personal en mí.
it's okay to be like I was uncomfortable multiple times.
Dice, muchas veces estuve incómoda.
Are inside of the couch
En-
because I was like, how many like protective body positions did I get into?
Porque es como que te sientas y dices, ¿cuántas posiciones incómodas he tenido? Y pues bueno, aquí termina este show que fue muy esperado por muchas personas, esta entrevista de Hailey, donde la verdad ella dice que pues siempre ha tenido una mentalidad de adolescente muy como muy madura, ¿no? Dice, cuando vas a Nueva York, pues tú vas y vas a los clubs y andas por ahí y vas y tomas. Había momentos en mi vida en los que, pues sí, tenía como 18. Dice, cuando yo me convertí en 21, dice, yo ya no quería saber nada del alcohol. Dice, la primera vez que yo me puse borracha, yo estaba en 16.
And I think we had like a recital, and one of my friends who I danced with, she had
ella estaba en ballet.
like sleepovers because she had like the dope basement. So we would go in the basement.
Dice que se fueron al basement, ella y su amiga, y como su mamá nunca bajaba, pues ellas estaban ahí tomando.
Get drunk in the basement.
Se pusieron,
No, it was like multiple girls.
Okay.
Like,
había
all
muchas
the girls
muchachas,
from
muchas
Sydney
chicas tomando
Marcus.
ahí abajo en el basement.
And the first time I like really remember getting
Y que la
drunk, I didn't
única
throw
cosa
up,
que
which is, like,
realmente
surprising.
recuerda
That one time I didn't throw up. Thrown up multiple
que
times.
ahí fue una vez que ella vomitó y
But that one time I remember,
y que una vez ella recuerda porque no podía ni caminar, no sabía qué tomar.
Can never, if you made me smell Ciroc birthday cake vodka right now.
Que si tú le haces oler ahorita el vodka y esas cosas. O sea, no.
If you made me smell that right now, I would proceed to fall into a dark hole. Like, that would trigger me.
I feel like
that was
La marcó tanto eso que tomó, pues que no le gusta.
Like a Mike's Hard and like all this crazy. Like the fact that I didn't throw up is a miracle.
Dice, no, perdón, el punto de que no vomitó, eso fue un milagro.
And I called my cousin.
Pero que le llamó a su prima.
Staying with us at the time, who I was really close to. I am really close to, and I was like, hey, she was older than me.
Y ella es mayor que yo, mi prima.
From her house, I don't want my mom to like pick
y yo no quería que mi mamá se diera cuenta.
Go to a party or something, and I would have had like a couple sips of a drink, and she would get in the car and she would smell my breath.
Y cuando ella se metió en el carro, pues escuchó, olió mi aliento.
She's gonna know.
Y me dijo, ella va a saber.
Friends asked me to take all the empties and find somewhere to throw them out because she didn't want her mom to find them. So my cousin comes to get me. I take all the bags of empties. We pull over into an Olive Garden parking lot.
Y que se llevaron todas las botellas, toda la basura ahí y lo tiraron todo en un parque para que su mamá no se dieran cuenta que había tomado. Y que ella dijo, llévenme a la iglesia, por favor, necesito ir a la iglesia, llévenme, por favor. Yo estaba tan tomada, pero me sentía mal. Yo me sentía toda, o sea, yo dije, necesito a Dios. Y eso fue lo que me hizo decir, necesito ir a la iglesia.
And I was so hungover.
Dice, yo estaba tan tomada, tan.
That I was like, oh my God, I gotta go home. Like,
y bueno, fui.
Right now. But that was like what my instinct
porque ella quería ir al grupo de jóvenes de la iglesia.
I gotta go to youth group after I get hammered for the first time in the basement. It's a classic.
Classic.
I feel like you are the sweet.
Dice, eso es algo clásico, que te pongas toda tomada en el basement de tu casa.
New York City, it would be like Friday night. I was like in up and down taking shots, and then I was like going to church on Sunday, which I think is like so fine.
Y a veces sí, salía sábado y domingo y el domingo estaba en iglesia. Dice, creo que eso estaba bien. Era divertido.
Up and down in New York. I think I've had the most disgusting, ratchet, amazing, awful nights of my life.
Yeah.
Dice, creo que las noches más así awful que he tenido más raras han sido en Nueva York. Dice, he tenido momentos traumatizantes en Nueva York.
What was the one on the roof? PhD.
Oh, PhD. Hailey, you're like a normal human being.
Entonces, pues ella dice que ella se la pasaba también allá en los penthouse. Party.
Do you and Justin like go out and have fun? So
dice, ¿tú y Justin todavía salen y tienen diversión? Dice, sí.
There you go.
Antier salimos. Los dos no hemos cambiado nuestra forma de divertirnos, de ser.
Absolutely not.
I feel like now I get hungover by accident.
Dice, creo que a veces sí, a veces me pongo borracha por accidente o.
It's hard for me. When I was 18 to 20,
cuando yo era de 18 a 20, dice, y tomaba tanto, en mi cuerpo estaba bien.
I would wake up the next day, give me a bacon, egg and cheese and a blue Gatorade and I'm fine.
Dice, yo despertaba al día siguiente, dame un Gatorade y un sándwich de blue cheese y yo estaba bien.
In New York, you go to a fucking bodega.
Y tiene que ser un Gatorade azul. Un croissant. Ay, ya se me antojó. Así que, ¿cómo ven este episodio donde pues nos dan un poquito de información interesante acerca de la vida de Hailey y de Justin? A mí me llama muchísimo la atención aquí algo que les quiero contar. ¿Ustedes qué opinan de que ella y pues él, ¿no? Ella y las dos, ¿no? No le llaman a Selena como por su nombre. Siempre se refieren a ella como ella o la ex de Justin. Nunca la llamaron como su nombre. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Esto está raro, ¿no? Y también, bueno, a ella me pareció que tiene un estilo de personalidad muy bonito, me gustó, nunca la había escuchado hablar, o sea, así como que tanto. Tiene una manera de comunicarse muy clara, me gustó su entonación, me gusta que tiene perfectamente bien estructurado todo lo que quiere decir y cómo se quiere explicar. Me parece una chava madura para su edad, tiene 24 años, recordemos que se casó de 21, conoció a Justin desde que tenía como 18, o sea, más chiquita. Entonces, bueno, pues a lo mejor esta relación it was meant to be, tenía que pasar, tenía que ser, y pues la gente que no le guste, pues ni modo, se tiene que aguantar porque ya están casados, y se ve que ella está muy enamorada de Justin, y Justin también se ve que la procura mucho. Entonces, pues parece ser que el capítulo con Selena Gómez ya está cerrado, ahí sí como que ya no tenemos nada que hacer, y por ese lado está bien, porque pues también esa relación estuvo llena de toxicidad, la de ella con Justin, la de Selena con Justin, y también hubo pues ahí cosas. A lo que yo voy es de que ya aclaró que no anduvo con él cuando ella anduvo con Justin, o sea, cuando Selena y Justin andaban, ella dice que ella no se metió, que ella no era ese tipo de chava, pero a lo mejor Justin andaba con las dos, pero en tiempos diferentes, o sea, terminaba con una y se iba con la otra, terminaba con una y se iba con la otra. Eso es lo que tal vez los fans no le perdonan a Justin. Pero como les digo, Justin también al ser como de una cultura canadiense, yo también entiendo que por ese lado pueda tener un poquito más de, pues, de la honestidad, que creo que sí parece que es un chico honesto y es un chico muy trabajador que también desde chiquito conoció la fama y desde chiquito ha tenido muchísimo dinero y ha estado envuelto en adicciones y ahorita por todo lo que está pasando, que se haya casado también es un paso muy importante, porque pues lo hizo por la religión que él profesó también gracias a que se juntó con esta chava, porque acuérdense que antes de esto, pues él no era tan así, tan católico, ¿no? O sea, bueno, tan cristiano. Entonces también se le estuvo relacionando mucho a Justin con su pastor, ¿se acuerdan? Que estaban todo el tiempo saliendo y que hasta por ahí había rumores de que si no eran pareja o algo así. Siempre va a haber como una nube de rumores y de prejuicios y de cosas que a lo mejor la gente se inventa, porque como ella dice, a los haters les gusta estar, dice, ellos prefieren ver a Justin con cualquier otra persona, pero no conmigo. Pues ni modo, le tocó a ella. Nosotros quiénes somos para no aceptar eso, ¿no? Es su vida, al final de cuentas son artistas y yo sé que si Justin quisiera estar con Selena, pues ya hubiera estado, ¿no? Ya estaría, o sea, porque se puede divorciar y puede volver, pero de eso a que la relación funcione, pues hay mucha diferencia. Espero que te haya gustado este pequeño espacio donde estábamos pues aquí en el merequetengue, en el chisme de lo que pasó en esta entrevista tan controversial y tan esperada, que es la primera vez que Hailey habla y habla tan cosas íntimas también de la relación de ella con Justin, que bueno, creo que sí superó las expectativas de mucha gente. Para mi punto de vista, bien, pero no me gustó que no mencionaron el nombre de Selena. Vamos a ver por qué y que alguien le pregunte en otra entrevista por qué nunca mencionaron el nombre de Selena Gómez. Muchísimas gracias, yo soy Pati Limón, me encantó saludarte. Este es mi canal, si te gustas, pues te puedes suscribir, comparte el video y dale like. Muchísimas gracias y nos vemos después. Bye bye. Chao.